get started with our city council work session and to review what's going on Thursday. We have a roll call, Ms. Adams, invocation by Chaplain Chuck Carlson, and pledge of allegiance by Mr. Myers. Welcome to the dais, sir. Acceptance of agenda, Mr. Rodriguez is on his way, and our city manager report, sir.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw, members of council. A number of things for this week. The bus stop and shelter enhancements project funded by Federal Transit Administration. Bids are due on July 15th. The solar-powered e-bike charging station proposals are due on the 10th, so hopefully we'll have an update for you Thursday. The municipal airport apron and taxiway J rehab project is awaiting approval from the FAA, so that should be started here pretty soon. Shared use path on State Route 92 from Ebony to Cochise to Foothills, also FTA funded. That project will be kicking off on the 10th, 2 days, and will take about 6 months to complete. Len Roberts Park pathway repairs is complete. Annual street maintenance is complete. The Montebello fire hydrants improvements project is in progress and expected to be completed by next month, so that's a good thing. Garden Avenue streetscape is still on schedule for December. And then the MLK reconstruction from Ebony to Escuela to State Route 90 is also complete. So a number of projects going on and a number of them done, so that's a good thing. We also have our sales tax report, and for the year it was basically flat, so not really much new to tell you there. These are numbers through April, and we're down a grand total of $48,000 from the previous year's collections, or 0.21%. So, looking at the numbers, the general sales tax revenue is down. We're seeing upward trend in restaurant and bar, which kind of coincides with what's going on the fort. But we're seeing hotel kind of staying flat as well, and then of course construction is the main culprit here, so that's down fairly significantly. And better news, the $1.5 million in the state budget for our spaceport license will be a direct appropriation, so that'll be $1.5 million. So told Tony to hold on to that check, and we'll have a good photo op when we get that. So, and then I assume that'll be the same then the $100,000 for the well improvements at the golf course. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions?
This morning I saw Representatives Lupe Diaz and Gail Griffin and Senator David Gowan, and I thanked them for helping us get the money. I guess it disappeared for a little bit, and then they got it back in there last minute. So we're very grateful. Mm-hmm. I know you reached out to them too.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, and we'll continue with item number 2, consent agenda. I will recuse myself from this vote due to Ramona McCott being appointed to the board, and I see the IDA president is here today. Good afternoon, sir. And
Sorry,
yes, go ahead.
oh, so you have to. We're not going to break it up so you can vote for the rest. We have to. Do we have to keep it all lumped together as it? All right.
Just the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Jill.
We can revise the agenda and take it off and vote on it separately, but you can't break up a motion like that on a
Okay.
consent. So,
So it's easier just for him to recuse?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Welcome back, Jim.
Welcome back. Yeah.
I forgot.
oops, sorry.
Sail away. Then we go to our public hearing, resolution 2025-057, staff report. Ms. Adams.
Mayor McCaw, members of council, this is an administrative action that the clerk takes periodically to take all of the ordinances that council passes for a period of time and have them written into the official record of the city. This covers a larger than normal time period because for budget purposes. This does not affect the timing of any of these ordinances. They are effective when they're passed, plus their normal effective date. And so to be a little more prudent with our expenditures, because there is a cost to this and we don't actually print a lot of copies, we waited a little longer. And this just makes them official records of the city, and we do produce updates for books that we do keep. We keep about 6 copies of the books here at City Hall. But like I said, this has no effect on the effectiveness of the ordinances that are passed throughout the time. And this opens the 30-day public comment period, and then we'll be back in 30 days with an ordinance of its own.
Excellent. Any questions, comments for our city clerk? All right, thank you, ma'am. We go to number 4, which is Resolution 2025-0058, staff report. Mr. Boone, good afternoon, sir.
All right, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So this, in the next set of slides, will wrap up with your approval on Thursday, the official adoption of the 2025 version of the Plan for Prosperity. So we'll do a quick review for some of the new members. We'll hit.
There it is.
There it is. Playing games
She's
today,
like,
are
sorry.
we? Is it working? Is it? Wow, this is fun. We'll hit kind of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We'll talk about the objectives in a little bit of detail, and then, of course, we can work our way through questions and comments. So, really quick reference. This slide takes you back to 2018. 2018 was the second iteration. The initial was 2013. That was out on a private contractor before I got here. And then when I came on, really updating 2018 was kind of my first task. As I've told people before, Chuck kind of gave me the update and said, go forth and do it. And so this is the first plan that didn't involve breaking things or killing people as I transitioned from the Army. But these were the 6 objectives. Really, I just kind of wanted to, use it as a reference point or kind of a launching off point there. You'll see a lot of duplication or kind of modification that we went forward with. So this time we went through with the Economic Development Commission. So as opposed to large groups of stakeholders and some public meetings, we used the Economic Development Commission to work our way through. Now the next 2 slides you'll see both in the SWOT analysis and the objectives marries up to what Dr. Gary Packard, the former chair of the Economic Development Commission, he presented to the council in December. And really this kind of goes through really just a quick assessment specifically, and I don't really intend to call any of these out, really where we focused were the opportunities. And really that tied back into things such as the West End, which has been a long, consistent theme for the city, entrepreneurship, and clearly modifying from the first one to the second one, really the refinement on the municipal airport as we look at the spaceport into the future. And then really this one tied in and really latched on to the regional tourism effort and the efforts we've been doing and working with my partner, Laura Wilson, in Parks and Rec. And then clearly some of the other things that are still there, whether it's the perception issue, Fort Huachuca, both in a positive or negative, and then some of the water and environmental concerns were identified within that. That actually launched forward to the 5 objectives, and that's where the Economic Development Commission refined both the 6 and kind of went back and looked. Again, very similar themes across this with economic impact, opportunities with Mexico. We refined some of that previous stakeholder engagement to look at really where we were going on the entrepreneurship side. This one really goes after the hub for sports tourism. And then the last one is really a continuation, which would be the awareness of Sierra Vista. So this one, again, we won't read all of the sub-objectives. Most of this is specifically tied back to the spaceport and really the effort that we'll pursue over the next 18 to 24 months on the Part 433 license, now with state money, which will make it a little more interesting. Clearly the 203 acres and where we're at with the Corps of Engineers on the environmental effort to acquire that land. That 203 acres allows us to grow the spaceport out. It also allows us to take the non-DOD missions off of Fort Huachuca into the future. Really, bullet 3 wraps up kind of the comprehensive look, because once we've got the 203 acres, we really need to go after the developer and the folks that would come in behind it. There will be significant investment that will need to be put into the infrastructure to really turn that 203 acres into jobs. And then the last one, of course, goes into workforce partnerships and workforce development across the universities. I've had discussions with ASU, working on U of A as we speak, and we've already talked to Cochise College on things like where we can work technicians to support Black Star into the future. This one, develop opportunities with Mexico, and it's also good to have Dan Valle representing the Hispanic Chamber as an ex officio member. And it's one that we've talked about for significant amounts of time, and really the partnership with Sonora and how do we maintain those relationships. Really bullets 2 and 3 we may look at this year depending on the budget, or it may be an item that we put into next year's budget. But really trying to do a study. It's been several years since we've looked at the economic impact or the travel of our Sonoran visitors coming across. We've got some anecdotal data, but we may look into that specifically kind of as we go along. And then the last one really goes back to partnerships and how do we continue that partnerships and promotion with our local businesses. Opportunities for entrepreneurship. This really carries on a lot of the great teamwork and effort that has been done both with this Small Business Development Center, the Skyline Regional Partnership, Cochise College, whether it be Moonshot, which we've done the last several years as the pitch contest, really our adult pitch contest. And then Diana jumped in on the Big Idea Blitz, which we ran really for the first time. We kind of piloted it last year. But 108 high school students jumped in, and where do we go with that? And how do we broaden out the scope? We just did some interviews for the University of Arizona Center for Innovation right before this meeting. So we're looking for our third round along with the Skylands Regional Partnership Foundation to sponsor another business to put them in the incubator that is based out of the Center for Innovation. So that is an ongoing support. The next couple tie into really the work with Matt McLaughlin, Community Development, the West End Partnership, and where do we use attraction funds kind of along the way. And really the final piece goes into really developing the ecosystem, and that's going to take a broad stroke of all of the partners that I've mentioned to include the Industrial Development Authority, and how do we continue to stir the pot both for our high school and then our young entrepreneurs, because ultimately at the end of the day, most of the job growth will come from businesses that are located here. So how do we continue to move that needle on that side? I don't think this one should be a surprise to anyone. Did we get a good photo, Laura? That's really, this comes back to the parks and really leverages the work that the city council and staff have already kind of worked their way through, whether it be the Parks Master Plan, or our continuing partnerships, whether it be across Cochise County and our role in Cochise County in the Tourism and Economic Council, or the sports, what is this, Blake Eager, sports, yeah, I always wrote it down. Southern Arizona Sports Tourism and Film Authority, so I get it right, SASFA.
Kind of new.
You know, it's a good name. But really, where do we go with that relationship and how do we continue? And Laura and I have been having conversations about different events, and we're looking to jump into one probably in October, which effectively sponsors amateur sports tournaments as they look across the state, and really going from what has been a tremendous partnership and great work with our local clubs, whether it be baseball, softball, soccer, but looking to go across the national piece. So that's kind of where that one goes. And then really looking at the future tourism opportunities. Where do we go from here? How do we continue to attract additional folks? And how do we play in this ecosystem that is Cochise County? Last one, it really comes back to an awareness issue. And I think it was present when I started, and it is still there, to ensure that both businesses, key leaders know that Sierra Vista is here across the state. And then really, where do we take our place in the national realm? And I think that's where the spaceport, as either the third or the fourth reentry site, how does that play in? Where do we go beyond traditional marketing, whether it be newspapers, ads, and those types of things, to looking at digital? We've done influencers Lauren Healy's done some great work on with the Hikeaholics. You saw those videos that popped up. So how do we look beyond just kind of the normal tourism piece and within the budget? How do we stretch that out to get a significant or a larger impact for the city? So, and then really kind of coming back to data analytics, using Placer AI and the visitor data, where do people come? And really that's been able to refine our advertising. So as we looked at like Sky Islands, or we've looked at the Wine, Beer, and Spirits Festival, where did we advertise? Where did we actually draw people in? So it allows us to put some analytics to where the dollars are being spent. So kind of all wraps up within that awareness piece. All right, that kind of wraps it up. This is a photo from the Big Idea Blitz. That was the winner. But really, I'm ready for your questions.
Excellent.
I have some questions, but I first want to thank you and your staff and the Economic Development Commissioners for working on this. I don't know when you started. It's been a while though, right? You've been
Took us a
working
little
on
longer. We were shooting for 24, but we're here in 25. So
it. Right. And if it makes you feel better, we didn't pass it in 18. We passed it in 19. This is incorrect that we approved it in 2018. I think it was presented in 2018. I don't know why the council didn't approve it then, because I wasn't on council. But I remember it was one of the first things I approved, because I was like, what is all this? And I noticed from last time, we removed Fort Huachuca and anything to do specifically. And I'm just curious, what's the reason behind that?
Well, I would go back to kind of where Dr. Gary Packard, and remember, these are the same objectives you saw in December. The commission's discussion on this was that the central theme and effort for the city across all of us has been to support and maintain the fort. So really it came down to, it wasn't that it wasn't important, it was so important that it was there and present in all of the actions that they decided not to include it specifically in the initiatives that the framework moved forward.
Okay. I don't know how anyone else feels. I think I still like
we
it
should
being
look.
mentioned somewhere in the document, but
I agree too.
that might, okay, good.
Yeah.
It is our bread and butter. I like to have it in there. But the other thing is I like the addition of improve opportunity for it's number 3 in the framework objectives, the improve opportunity for entrepreneurship and business engagement, because I know y'all are already doing these things. And like any in the mayor's doing that, like walking on Wednesdays and Diana's outreach and the department's outreach. And but this is exactly the kind of thing that the last plan was missing, and so I really am. And it's perfectly, I think the way it's worded and the way that you're going to go about it, all the bullet points here is great. I wasn't sure if maybe there's enough emphasis on retention of current businesses, but then you do have that last line, maintain relationships with businesses to continually evaluate local business needs and concerns. So that's the addressing who we already have and taking care of them portion. Okay.
That's the intent, yes.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good. Because, yeah, we don't want anyone who's already here to think, oh, you're set up shop, you're on your own now. Yeah. Okay, great. That's all I can think of right now. Yeah.
Any others? None on the dice? Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Actually, I do because I thought somebody would say something. Is with us, at least a couple of us wanting to see Fort Huachuca added and weaved in somewhere, and not just implied. But would that be, when would we see a change, an amendment to the plan?
Well, if there's consensus to make a change, we can do that now and put the change, and Jill will repost the item, or you can make an amendment to the plan and move to amend it to add for what you get the next meeting. Either way would work.
Okay, so if I come up with a way to amend it on Thursday,
Yes.
we don't have to send it back and.
No.
Yeah, with the item on the agenda is to approve the plan. So you have 2 days to change up the plan. The the agenda would not have to be changed, but if you want to wait, we could take it off the agenda for Thursday and put it on for the next meeting if you wanted a little more time to
24th of
wordsmith it. It's kind of your comfort level as far as getting the right words in the right place.
Can we get the right words? And until July, like 24th?
Well, here-
Or just,
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So if I go back to the 2018, which I think you're correct, 2018 voted in 2019. But really, the question came back to, so the point on this one was expand the awareness and opportunity. And really, we had a significant discussion because really in 18, the issue there was not to be defensive or protective, but really to go on the offense, to go after the awareness of Fort Huachuca, its place, its role in the national defense and opportunity. So if the consensus of council is that objective, broad scope, I can add that one back into the 2025 version, and we can continue to work on the sub-objectives for between now and Thursday. But I can bring it back to 6 objectives for Thursday with a pretty easy change.
That sounds
yeah,
fine to me.
that's cool.
Jill, it's okay to go ahead and make the change, right?
Yeah,
And just put
yeah.
it in, yeah, let's just do that, that's simplest.
Okay.
Okay, mhm.
Thank you.
I get a sense from council, that's the direction you want to
The
go.
goodness is it's PowerPoint. We're in good shape.
Excellent.
It
PDF.
hasn't been printed
All
yet.
right, that's what we'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
All right, thank you, sir. Then we go to item number 5, resolution 2025-059. This will be the appointment of Ken Kilmurray, who will not be here on Thursday, I don't think.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, so.
He
we'll-
did warn us he'd be on vacation if we selected him.
Yeah, so we'll appoint him, and then he gets read on, not read on, that's gracious.
Sworn in by Jill.
Read on is, the military, sworn in, there you go.
He'll just have to meet with you before the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And item number 6, resolution 2025-060 is the dissolve of the Transportation Commission. And we already discussed this. Any other discussions on this? None?
Do you want to brief?
Do you want me to read through the
Yeah.
background a little bit?
I can if you,
It doesn't matter.
okay, well, go ahead.
You want me to go ahead? Okay. So in 2023, there was an initiative to change the structure of some different commissions. And then at that time, the Transportation Commission was established with surface transportation-related focus, and then areas regarding airport streets, bicycling, pedestrian infrastructure, and then transit. And that was in relation to the general plan element 3, which is connectivity, transportation, and circulation. And so it's kind of been discussed over the past couple of meetings a little bit that over the past 2 years, the membership of the Transportation Commission has remained mainly pilots with the primary interest in supporting the airport's economic growth, which is aligned with the current objective in City Council's strategic leadership plan. So the commission is currently attached to the Public Works Department, which is responsible for the operations of the airport facility, but is not economic development. And so it seems like the next most practical step would be the dissolution of the Transportation Commission and realignment of the mission of 2 other commissions that are ongoing right now. And so the members of the Transportation Commission most interested in airport economic growth could join the Economic Development Commission, and then the Neighborhood Commission. Our mission would expand to include the consideration of surface transportation needs related to the streets, bicycling, pedestrian infrastructure, like multi-use paths and sidewalk placements and transit and things like that, which they already kind of, both of those commissions already kind of deal with those things. And so that's kind of just briefly what that resolution is about.
Excellent. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Sir?
No, it's fine, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
We can make it work.
All right. Excellent. So we'll vote on that this Thursday, and then we'll have call to public and comments from the council. Item number Bravo, is reports on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings. Any meetings that we have? Yes, ma'am.
So last Wednesday on the 2nd, it was the fourth and final PAC meeting for the Sierra Vista Municipal Airport Master Plan. And so at that meeting, there was a discussion of the draft study material that was related to the last two chapters, which is the recommended development concept and then capital improvement. So that was discussed. And then later on that day, there was a public information workshop that was held up here in the council chambers, where members of the public could come in and get information or ask questions. And they had some different boards of information that comes from the master plan. So that was nice to have a bunch of people from the public come, and they were able to kind of check it out and stuff. And more information for that is available at sierravista.airportstudy.net. It has chapters from the master plan if anybody was interested in that and more information. So that happened last Wednesday.
Excellent. Any others?
Future meetings, I have, we have a neighborhoods commission on the 14th at 4:30 up here in the conference room.
And I think that's it. And we have future discussion items and council requests, sir.
And Mr. Mayor, I don't think we have anything specific requested by the council at this time. So-
Excellent. All right. And that is it for today. We will see you on Thursday. Meeting is adjourned.